geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. So strap yourselves in for the weekly live show that brings you toy news, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions. Reveals, releases, thoughts, and maybe dreams. So prepare yourselves for the Geek Week in Review. Live.
Boom! Here we are. Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week, episode 163 with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. And I'm back. I'm back in my room. I'm out of the car. I'm actually here this week. If you're watching along live, then please do comment as we go. As we say every week, we're going out across a bunch of different platforms, so we will do our best to stay on top of the comments and get them up on screen where we can. There is lots to talk about this week, so please do join in. And if you're watching this on repeat, like a lot of you do, Mr. Sorrell, what do they need to do?
Hashtag catch up crew, I think then. Jesus. Hashtag catch up crew.
Hashtag catch up crew. That's it. Drop in the comments. Hashtag catch up crew. Let us know you're watching on repeat. A couple of shout outs quickly. Shelley's in the chat. She said she's dipping in and out this evening. She's working, doing some noise monitoring at a music festival. Oh, D Ream are up next. Are they the ones that things can only get better? Oh, wicked. That's quite cool. That's quite cool. Andy Roberts there. Nice to see you this week, Jacob. Thanks very much, Andy. Yeah, last week, for anyone that didn't catch the show, I was in North Wales. Unfortunately, there was no geek shops to go to or anything like that. There was lots of mountains and lakes and puffins and stuff. But I was streaming from my car, which started off okay, but then it got dark very quickly, and I just kind of disappeared into the darkness. But yes, we're here. We're here. Episode 163, and we are talking everything MCU this week. We are talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to go full spoilers. We're going to talk about all the cameos, all the kind of one-liners and everything like that. We're going to talk about the Fantastic Four, which were obviously announced and kind of done a little bit at San Diego Comic-Con, but there has been a bit of a trailer leak, which they were shown at San Diego Comic-Con, and somebody managed to get some snaps. We're going to talk about that. We'll touch on Robert Downey Jr. taking up the mantle of Doctor Doom. We did talk about this briefly, didn't we, last week?
Briefly, yeah.
But we'll kind of dive in a little bit deeper about what we think about theories and what this means.
It was very hard to, last week we touched on a lot of things, but it was hard to discuss things without going full spoilers. This week we're going to go full spoilers. We can kind of mention what the hell we want. So it'll be a lot easier this week.
That's it. And we're going to talk about Blade. And we're going to talk about Blade because out of the 4 movies that are announced for next year, Blade was one of them. So the long-awaited Blade film, which was ironic given a certain line of dialogue in Deadpool and Wolverine. But we'll get to that. We will get to that. Shelley just confirming there. That is D-Ream. I'm glad that my singing, you're able to to decipher my singing there, and yeah, that's MJT. Yes, the nickname stuck. The nickname stuck. There we go. How's your week been, Soren? What have you been up to?
Good. I got some comics this week, and one of my favorites this week was Apocalypse 2099, which was awesome. Nice. Let's see if I can grab the cover here. It's basically vampires have taken over. Yeah, Annihilation 2099. Vampires have taken over the 2099 universe, led of course by Dracula. So now we've got Dracula 2099 as a thing in the whole 2099 universe.
Oh, nice. Are they their characters at the bottom as well?
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with the. There's a vampire version of Ghost Rider right now. There's a vampire version of they're all different characters. Like Wolverine's one of them, Deadpool's one of them. So he's got like his 4 horsemen of the apocalypse almost kind of thing going on.
Nice.
But
nice.
Do you know what? The reason I'm mentioning this is because as well this week, one of the other books that was re-released this week was Dracula. Marvel's Dracula, the Bram Stoker edition. So this is based on the original novel, the original story of Dracula as told by Marvel.
Nice.
Which is interesting because, like we say, we're going to touch on Blade tonight. And I've got a feeling Marvel are setting us up for something here. There's a lot of Dracula books out right now. Like Dracula's involved in the vampire bloodline storylines, the Blood Wars, and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
He's also got his own book out right now, and he's involved in the Midnight Suns. He's involved in the Blade comics. He's involved in the Spider-Man comics with Michael Morbius, and he's also included right now in the Avengers comics. So Dracula is currently everywhere in Marvel. In the comics.
And we've had a modern Dracula Marvel Legends figure announced, which we haven't had a Dracula for years.
Which makes me massively think that he might actually be the villain in the Blade movie for next year. The fact that they're giving him so many revivals, they're doing the story arc, they're giving us the past, future, and present of the whole Blade, like Marvel, and like Blade and Dracula storylines. They're going back and giving us like reprints of the Tomb of Dracula from 1980. So I mean, that's a big indication in my opinion.
Yeah, that is interesting. For me as well, like the toys are always a good indication of where things are heading, because obviously Hasbro take the license from Marvel, so they're not like Marvel produced figures. So Hasbro make what Marvel want them to make. So if they're pushing something in particular, you see it with a lot of the newer characters, like Wolverine, for example, the new Wolverine Ghost Rider crossover. You know, they've announced a figure of that, and ordinarily that's the kind of figure that you would have on your wish list and hope that they do further down the line, not at the time that the book's out producing a figure of it. That's almost unheard of. So so the fact that Marvel have said to Hasbro, do a Dracula, greenlit a Dracula, does say that they want everyone kind of looking that way. And it's interesting as well, because I always characters like Dracula that have a lot of ties to other properties, other franchises, and other areas. When they pop up in underneath a banner of a particular, like when they pop up, for example, Dracula popping up in Marvel, a lot of casual fans will kind of go, oh, well, why are Marvel using this person's character? Whereas by kind of pushing all this stuff out, it kind of solidifies him as a Marvel character, doesn't it?
Do you know what the thing is as well? DC, as a part of their next universe, are focusing on Dracula. Focusing on Frankenstein at DC. So to me, it would make sense that Marvel's going to push something also Universal Monster related to compete with that monster feel, because like Universal Monsters want to push their product. So if Frankenstein's with DC, Dracula's with Marvel, they're currently announcing and pushing massively as stupid as it sounds, but the Care Bears with the Universal Monsters line, that's currently a thing. The Universal Monsters line is being pushed heavily right now by Universal. And it just seems weird with all the announcements at Comic-Con and the fact that they're still saying that that Blade is a thing for next year, even though we've heard nothing but bad things. Yeah.
It's beyond it being like a marketing ploy, because it has been, you know, writers, directors, all that kind of stuff dropping. It seems like the only thing that's kind of been the main kind of like timeline has been what's his name, Ali, the
Mashhad Ali.
Yeah, him as the titular character.
Yeah, my thoughts on it is, right, they keep saying that the Mashhad Ali is going to be playing Blade. They keep pushing that narrative, but after we've seen Deadpool and Wolverine,
let's jump into the Deadpool.
My thoughts, to be honest, obviously we saw in the Deadpool movie, we saw Wesley Snipes return in the character of Blade, and there is the silly little in-joke of there's only one Blade.
There's only ever been one. No, the way he worded it was that there's only ever been and only ever will be one Blade.
One Blade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've got a feeling Mashhad Ali is playing Deacon Frost. I don't think he's playing Blade. I think he's playing a young Deacon Frost.
Oh, okay.
Just because I think there's going to be a prequel element to it, or even some, because they also announced, bear in mind, at Comic-Con, and it went under the radar. Bear in mind, they also announced at Comic-Con that they're doing a Halloween special this year on Disney Plus. That is coming back.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's I don't know that that's something random. It's going to be something tied into all this. And I've got a feeling we're going to see the return of Blade, Wesley Snipes as Blade, with Mashhad Ali playing Deacon Frost, and we might get a Dracula cameo, because I think Dracula is going to be the character they're going to use this year for their Halloween special in a black and white format, similar to Werewolf by Night.
Okay.
So therefore, we'll get like a prequel of Blade with Wesley Snipes versus whoever it is playing Dracula from the Disney Plus universe on the big screen. We're going to get a prequel of that, but then it'll go into the modern world where Blade is the Wesley Snipes version and fighting Deacon Frost as we know from the original Blade movie, but just retold. That's where I think they're going with it. Personally.
Okay.
Mashhad Ali would play an amazing Deacon Frost. They keep showing him with the little glasses on, but I think that's a red herring.
The only thing is that in the Eternals, you heard him talk to.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's Blade. We're all assuming it's Blade. There's no meaning as to why it should be Blade. He could be Hannibal King for all we know. It never at any point has he said the words "I am Blade." We've just heard a voice go, "That sword is whatever." No, we've just heard a voice. We don't know who he is, what he is, anything. That could be Dracula for all we know.
Oh, that's a really good.
They've never it's not at any point that he's gone, "I am Blade," and that's my sword.
That's really interesting. That is really interesting.
Exactly. It really puts it on its head when you say it like that, because at no point has anyone ever said that is definitely who he's playing. No one's ever come out from Marvel and said Mashhad Ali is playing Blade. They've said Mashhad Ali is cast in Blade. They've never said he is Blade. Ever. I looked it up. I deliberately looked it up.
You know what, though? Wesley Snipes. Did you see Wesley Snipes did an Instagram post this week? I think it was. Beginning of August. It was around that. And basically, he shared it was one of these kind of like Scream Rant or something like that, but it was one of these articles, and basically it just said cancel Mashhad Ali's is that how you say it? Mashhad
how do you say it? I think it's called something like that. That's how I pronounce it anyway.
But cancel his Blade movie and bring Wesley Snipes Daywalker back into the MCU. And then they quoted him from Deadpool Wolverine saying there's only been one Blade, only ever going to be one Blade. And then he shared that article, but with the tag like saying you're all crazy or something like that.
Let's say this. After watching Deadpool and Blade, he's not skipped a beat. He is still a Blade. He looks the part, man. To say that time has passed since the 90s, he looks spot on. Yeah, he's got a slight graying going on, but it was very minimal, and he looks good.
But didn't we say on a previous show though, him coming out like with grey hair, looking like we basically called it, didn't we? Like we said how cool he would look. Coming out like
with part human, so he can age.
Yeah. But we called it, didn't we? We said, him coming out and being a little bit grey and all the rest of it, we called it. And that's exactly how he came. So it was it was very interesting to see him playing the character again.
The only way I'd accept it now is if they were going to use Mashhad Ali playing him. The only way I'd accept it now is if Wesley Snipes had a cameo in it and was kind of like if it was Blade in a bar and he was telling his story of his younger years to the barkeep, and then it cut to Mashhad Ali playing him. That would be the only way I would accept it at this point, because Wesley Snipes is still Blade in my opinion. He looked the part, man, in Deadpool.
Yeah, but we see him turn in the first one, so he couldn't. Yeah. He wouldn't be the Blade that we've known.
Yeah, technically.
The thing is as well about that first Blade film.
The thing is with Blade, he's born not bitten. He's the whole point of Blade is he's the vampire. He's born, he's not bitten. So he's born a vampire. So they could technically do a younger years Blade, but he's not. He doesn't become Blade as we know it until he's looked like Wesley Snipes, basically because of the storyline.
Yeah. The thing about the Blade film is obviously the Blade film isn't technically Marvel Studios, because obviously Marvel Studios came out after that. But I can't remember the exact. I've got it written down somewhere on notes and that, but the exact kind of wording of it. But the Blade film was a big gamble for Marvel, and it was technically the first Marvel Studios film before Marvel Studios was a thing. Like Marvel invested in like studio fit, like they hadn't named it Marvel Studios, but it was still kind of
Marvel.
Yeah, and because
like
of the success, but because of the success of it, it's one of the key reasons why we have the MCU. Like, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but basically the Marvel Studios element of Marvel, like we all know that Marvel faced bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff, and they're obviously down a real rabbit hole. And taking the gamble on Blade, basically because of the way Blade paid off, it paved the way for the MCU that we know. So everyone always kind of credits Iron Man 1 as like the first of its kind, and you know, the thing that born the MCU and all the rest of it. And that's not technically right. It was Blade because of what that did financially.
Yeah.
The first Iron Man was technically the first Marvel Studios MCU film. So I think by kind of not by not utilizing him somehow,
they're missing out.
It just seems way too. The thing that I don't get is that line. It just didn't make sense when there is a Blade film in the works. Like Deadpool and Wolverine was a prime. Like we know that there are variants and there are all these different types of people, different versions of the same people going into this void. And although it was kind of a swan song and a farewell kind of love letter to 20th Century Fox, they didn't need to include that line because they could have made it. He was never part
of 20th Century Fox. He was Miramax. He was never anything to do with 20th Century Fox.
No. So it's by including that line, it's almost like they've created this frenzy of theory because they didn't need to include that line, because we would have believed that there was another Blade. Whereas he quite clearly said, like, there's only ever been one Blade. So, yeah.
Do you know what? I would even be, as daft as it sounds, I would even be happy at this point if they did continue with the Marshall Ali thing and continue with a reboot of Blade for MCU. Fair enough. But if they just use Wesley Snipes in a Morbius 2 movie or something, just use him in something. Just let me see him one more time on the screen, please.
Well, he's now. We were talking like in the week, weren't we? Because he's now beaten.
He has.
He's beaten Hugh Jackman's record,
which is accepted by the Guinness World Record. I did look it up. There's he broke 2 Guinness World Records, didn't he?
Oh, did he break 2? I didn't know he broke
2.
What was the second one?
So he is officially the longest running person playing a Marvel character on screen.
Yep.
That is number 1.
1998 being the first Blade film and 2024 being his latest appearance. It was something like 20 years, wasn't it? Or 21 years after
he spanned. Well, put it this way, he is now officially appeared in the first and last Marvel movie in canon. They're all canon. He has officially faced the first movie and the last movie. So he has been around in the multiverse for over 24 years.
Wow. That's impressive. That is impressive. I mean, the guy is in his 60s now, so he is going on. He is getting on. But like you say, seeing him in that film, he didn't miss a beat.
Did you even care? The fact when when that scene happened, that music played, and those guys walked in, you saw the characters. When I saw Wesley Snipes' face, I had the biggest geek reaction I've ever had in my life. Admittedly, I'm a big fan of the monsters of Marvel, but when I saw Blade, I seriously freaked out a little bit.
Blade, I think, was the biggest pop for me. That was the big cameo pop. All right, let's talk about that. Let's go backwards and forwards about Deadpool. So obviously a big scene that a lot of people talking was, of course, the scene in the underground hideaway cave.
Before we even get into that, no, we can't start there. Let's go right back. Come on, let's start with the Deadpool chat, because you can't jump in there. There's so much more before that.
Right, let's start at the beginning. All right, Deadpool Wolverine. I saw the midnight showing.
Yep.
You saw it the morning of the release date, didn't you? I must say there is one thing that I'm really kicking myself for now, because I went and saw that on the Wednesday night into the Thursday morning, and then the Thursday was when I went to the Cineworld at Leicester Square to watch Transformers 1, the advanced screen of Transformers 1. And I don't know if I said last week, but they had the baby Deadpool buckets.
Yeah.
And they were like $39.99. I was like, oh, that would actually look really good on the shelf, because it was like a big solid model. And I kind of talked myself into it while I was watching Transformers. I came out and it was all gone. And I was like, man. And they're selling for like twice the price on eBay now. Like they're going for like 80 to £100, which is mental. But yeah, either way. So yeah, so I my only I'll keep my issue until later on. Okay, yeah, I'll keep it.
So you have an issue? I have no issues.
No, not an issue. It's more of a query and a concern. Okay. But anyway, what did you think of the opening scene? Because it's that in itself has set records, hasn't it? Because it's like the most graphic opening scene of a Marvel film ever. Naturally, I really liked it. I thought it was very clever how they kind of used that Logan. Like they didn't cheapen Logan, did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
No. Okay,
they took his corpse up and killed people with it.
Yeah, okay. No, but what I mean is that they didn't kind of. It wasn't him. It wasn't that version of Logan that was in this film.
No, of course.
And like he got to him and he was dead.
This was still the version of Logan that died gracefully defending children, and they dug his corpse up and did the whole "ain't no lie, bye bye bye."
Yeah. My favorite bit, I must admit though, my favorite bit was when Deadpool like strapped the claws to his hands and was just getting stuck on people, and like, you know, I just thought it was, but I really liked it. I thought it was such a cool scene, and
sadly, I went to this film with my dad, right? My dad's knocking on now, and he's not the sharpest tool in the shed no more. And he leant into me and went, "Is this a TikTok dance?" I'm like, "Dad, it's the Backstreet Boys from the 90s." It's NSYNC. But yeah, I'm like, Dad, it's NSYNC. It's Justin Timberlake. He was like, that dude who got done for driving an influence. Like, that's the guy.
That's the one. But yeah, but it's not him, is it? It's not Ryan Reynolds doing the dance.
Is it not?
No.
No.
It's a professional dancer.
I'm surprised by that, you know. I'm actually surprised by that.
Well, a lot of people are. It's really kind of annoying.
I can imagine Ryan Reynolds doing it.
No, it's a professional dancer, a New York-based guy called Nick Pauly, I think. But if you look him up on Instagram, like he's showing his audition video and stuff. And he has this story. He says on his video, he's like, you know, my agent said, I can't tell you anymore, but you need to learn the NSYNC dance ASAP. This is going to be huge. And it's him like trying to learn it really quickly. But yeah, he's a professional dancer. But a lot of people kicking off, or not kicking off, but a lot of people were really disappointed because they thought it was Ryan Reynolds doing the dance.
To be fair, I assumed it was
I did.
He's one of them guys that would learn it to do it. I mean, to me, I would assume it was him. If you hadn't said anything, I would have still assumed it was Ryan Reynolds doing it to this day.
Yeah, for me, it's like kind of like it's just Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool are two and the same at the moment, so it's kind of like, you know what, it's Deadpool. I don't care. Like it's, you know. So what about the TVA element? The whole kind of.
I might say, what do you think of this whole? Have you seen this whole thing about people going to the cinema, ruin it for people? Obviously, he refers to himself as Marvel Jesus. That's caused a lot of controversy in itself, hasn't it?
A lot of controversy. There's
been a lot of people that turn up to the showings now with a deliberate attempt to start preaching the gospel word in the middle of a cinema.
Yeah, the thing that I don't get is that they showed that part in the trailer.
They did. That's why they're there, isn't it?
That's why I don't get it, because there's a lot of religious groups that are trying to boycott the film because of the sacrilegial. I can't even pronounce it properly, but basically, that's definitely But yeah, and they're turning up and they're posting videos saying about how they've left and all the rest of it. But they literally showed that part in the trailer. Like we were all making jokes. Yeah. But we were making jokes about that line months before the film came out. But yeah, but no, it's the TVA element.
Sorry,
go on.
I would say the whole opening scene thing was funny, and I loved the beginning element of the whole when they turn up and he's having his birthday party. We see all the characters there. And did you notice, by the way, that isn't the Deadpool from the universe that we've been watching films from? Are you aware of that? This is a different Deadpool.
What?
We see the Deadpool from Universe 2099 go into the office of the Stark officers at the Avengers Tower, and he is declined an Avengers status, and he leaves disappointed. Then it also says at the bottom, now we're going to Earth 1009 or whatever it is, 1099 or whatever, the one that they setting in the universe basically.
No, that's 10,005, which is the same universe as the X-Men.
Yes, that is a different Deadpool to the one they featured at the very beginning when they go to the Avengers Tower, because there's two different numbers at the bottom. One is the Earth 616, and one is Earth whatever it is 29. That number you said. They're two different Deadpools. That is what I pointed out to my dad at the very beginning of the movie. It said very blatantly. That is Deadpool 1099. Sorry, Deadpool Earth 616, and then Deadpool from the X-Men universe. There are two Deadpools in the universe right now.
Oh, see, I looked at it differently.
A lot of people didn't pick up on that.
No, see, I picked up on that, but I watched it with in the way I read it, right? But this is how I interpreted it, was that he's got his whole timey-wimey jumpy thing that he's using.
Yeah.
And so he travels to Earth 616 to apply to be a part of the Avengers, because we've not seen the Avengers in his universe.
Well, no, he can't. That thing he's got, he can't jump through. He can only jump through time. It cannot jump through space. Bear that in mind, time and space, two different things. Doctor Who's TARDIS can jump through space and time. Deadpool and Cable can jump through time, not space. Ooh. Bear that in mind.
So they just showed us. They showed us that 616 bit just for effect.
Two Deadpools. They showed us two Deadpools. I don't know. It just seems like a cool, at least, like a thing to note, because Kevin Feige doesn't do anything by halves, in my opinion. That is like saying this Deadpool in this universe needs a Wolverine to fix the timeline. This Deadpool was a deadbeat and he didn't make it into the Avengers. This Deadpool over here with Wolverine could make it into the Avengers. There's two different timelines. They made a point of saying this universe is dying, this one's alive because the Avengers are in it, therefore Deadpool is not needed. This universe, Deadpool is needed, and Wolverine was his big catalyst. There was like a whole point of that element.
Does he not reference it though? When he's in the TVA and he's looking at the Avengers and stuff on the screen, does he not talk about applying for Avengers?
Nope.
Does he not?
He just refers to himself as Marvel Jesus. That is the only thing he says.
You know what is interesting? That 616 scene.
Again, it might be different if we go see it on a second viewing. It might be different. But I mean, that was what I picked up from one viewing of the movie.
I'm going to have to watch it again and see.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you've said that, though, the 616 scene with Happy Hogan, he never once breaks the fourth wall.
Exactly. It's a very different
never
Deadpool.
Once. Yeah.
He's a very subdued Deadpool.
Which was going to be one of the criticisms I've got is that if we've got Deadpool out there and we've got the MCU out there, he wouldn't work with the mainstream characters, because can you imagine him being in Endgame and breaking the fourth wall? It would just break the cinematography of the whole thing. But if it is a different Deadpool, then when we have seen Deadpool in the 616 universe, he didn't actually break the fourth wall. So we have Deadpool, but then that means that we'd have a Deadpool moving forward that doesn't do the wall break. But I don't know. I like that scene with Happy Hogan, though. I thought it was quite good. There was lots of little nods to different things and stuff. One thing I did pick up on, though, is that they say Universe 616 2018, which is it's happening just before Endgame.
Yep.
So that flashback, which again seemed like a really random time to put him. Like, why are you putting him in the Avengers Tower just before Endgame happens? Like, you know, what's the reason for that?
So because they declined him to be an Avenger, therefore Deadpool would not turn up when he was needed at the end game. That is literally it. It's to fix the timeline, all the time issues. So if Deadpool was around in 616, why didn't he turn up to Endgame? Why wasn't he a superhero? Because Happy Hogan told him he would never be an Avenger. Why would he then turn up? Because he was too busy selling cars as a civilian. That's the whole point of that storyline, is to fix the timeline issues that the X-Men have put in place. They were fixing the timeline very slowly. So in my opinion, the idea being, if they do that scene showing 616 Deadpool, if he's been declined an Avenger status, why would he turn up to fight Thanos? Because he wouldn't have been invited to fight Thanos. He wouldn't have been included because he's not an Avenger. He didn't make it to the Avengers Tower.
Okay,
so
I'll give you that.
Yeah, and so obviously then his Deadpool then broke up with Vanessa because he never became what she wanted him to be. The Deadpool that is going to be in the 210 whatever timeline becomes the Deadpool we need him to be, with Wolverine and X-23 and.
But he then acts with Vanessa the way that the other one portrayed, like they've split up, and
I just took it as because his watch thing can make it through time, not space.
I didn't understand why they jumped over to 616. Yeah. It didn't. I couldn't put it together fast enough while I was watching it, because then by the time I was trying to
I personally think it was literally to fix a timeline issue. I think they're basically acknowledging by saying, yes, there is a Deadpool in 616. However, he never became a superhero because he's just a Deadpool. He's just a variant. He never became the hero he needed to be. Whereas the hero in 10 whatever became the hero he needed to be. That's how I viewed it.
You know what? Even by having that scene, it might just kind of explain as to why we never see him show up in other films and stuff anyway. Yeah. I liked the whole anchor character thing on the story. I thought that was quite clever. Yeah. I can't remember the exact way they word it, but the way that each universe has
a character that is the pivotal moment within that universe.
Yeah. And so then because Logan's died, that universe is now.
It makes sense. Wolverine has been the pivotal character of Fox. He's been the one that tied it all together. When the current X-Men timeline struggled so badly that it was almost cancelled, Wolverine was brought back for Days of Future Past to continue that timeline, technically. Yeah. He's the character that held the glue of the Fox universe because it was that popular.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Let's do the Wolverine cameos, because then obviously he jumps forwards and he's trying to find a Wolverine, isn't he? Which one was your favorite
of all the Wolverines, of all the fake ones? 80s Wolverine with the bike, and I loved all of them. It jumped around the time, didn't it? It sort of did the whole. It jumped to the Hulk. It gave us a quick glimpse of the Hulk.
Yeah.
It went. Hey, Andrew, the Wolverine that fights the Hulk and he gets punched and wherever. That was a cool. We were saying how cool would it be to see the Hulk in this movie?
Yeah, brown suit Wolverine as well. I like the high accurate Wolverine. I thought that was really funny.
Patch as well. We saw
Patch was cool. We knew Patch was coming. I half expected to see Daniel Radcliffe as Patch though. But the Calverine,
the Calverine was
Henry
amazing.
Cavill.
He looked good.
It was even the dialogue, as in we'll treat you so much better than the guys up the street. It was just brilliant.
Do you think that could be a cheeky thing from Feige? Do you not feel that could be anything from? He would be far too tall, but other than that, do you not think that is a cheeky nod from Feige?
Possibly. I mean, if
he turns up now as Wolverine later on, it would be friggin' believable because he looked good as Wolverine.
He did look good,
but he's now like a Wolverine.
He's now the only other person to play Wolverine in live action.
Yeah.
And what okay, there's fan service and then there's Easter eggs and there's nuggets dropped in. So yes, it could have just been fan service.
It could have been, yeah.
But he wasn't the only person that people were petitioning to be Wolverine. There was about 5 or 6 people that people were pushing to be Wolverine. So with all of those cameos, if it was just fan service, why didn't they utilize all of those people that were potentially, you know, going to be Wolverine and do a different one? Why did they use Hugh Jackman on every single one except for that one?
Yeah. The only thing I could have thought of was because DC did the flashback for Superman and gave us the Nick Cage Superman, right? So was this just a cheeky DC gave us that version, so we'll use the Superman character as Wolverine as a cheeky nod as a cheeky laugh at DC's poking fun element? Was it meant to be just homage to that, or
Possibly.
was it something more?
Possibly.
Honestly, I would love to think it was something more, and Feige's just playing with us at this point.
Yeah,
And like,
I think
we've cast as Wolverine, and you're never gonna know it.
Yeah, I think if it was something more, then, like you say, the seed's been sown now, and I think it'd be a good way of testing the waters with people to see how well he's
Cavill has kept it so damn quiet. He's not said a friggin' dicky bird, and nobody's even attempted to question him. It's one of them cameos that's been and gone, and nobody's questioned it. And Cavill stayed quiet.
No. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's talk about cameos. Let's just jump through some of the cameos because I'm just conscious that we might just spend the whole time talking about Deadpool.
The thing was, obviously we saw there was one thing that got me. There was no explanation as to why Starshot. Shatterstar. Why he was there? Why? No. There was no explanation. He just turned up. He just.
But this is what I found interesting. Like, so this kind of falls into cameo territory. Is that where was Domino? Where was Cable? Like Cable at the end of Deadpool 2 is what?
There was no explanation for anything.
No, but Cable at the end of Deadpool 2 said, like, I'm going to stick around to make sure that this world doesn't screw itself or whatever. Domino and Deadpool were obviously friends. Like, you know, it made no sense for them not to make a cameo there. Like Shatterstar, even when Shatterstar dies in Deadpool 2, Deadpool says, like, oh, no one's going to miss him. He was a bit of a something or other.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So there's no love lost there at all.
If there was going to be, because like the thing that gets me is Ryan Reynolds is self-aware enough. You know, like when they did George of the Jungle 2, and they couldn't afford Brendan Fraser, and they made the joke of Brendan Fraser too expensive for studio. I'm replacement. That they could have done that with Cable. They could have made that joke, but they didn't. They left it very open. They didn't sort of say where Cable was. If it was a case of actually he's too much of an actor just to come for a 2-bit role and it's expensive to bring him back for a 10-second cameo. Yeah. They could have said something like, oh, Cable's out somewhere, or they could have made a comment that explained it away, but they did nothing.
But what made it even worse is that the whole thing with the photograph where he's like, my whole world is in this photo.
And he's not there.
And Shatterstar's in there, but Domino isn't. Like, it's... Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But so we saw it was the regular lineup, wasn't it? It's Colossus, it was Negasonic, Teenage Warhead.
Even Kyo there. Oh, is it Kyo or Kyo? The Chinese girl, she's there with them. Yukio.
But his friend wasn't there, was he, from the bar?
Nope. Obviously, they've had a massive fallout in real life. Yeah,
I know they've had a massive fallout in real life, but there was nothing mentioned as to why not. Like, and he was a staple character of the last 2 films.
They wouldn't know whether they've had a fallout with the actor.
No. Obviously, none of the other characters from the bar. Like, you know, there was a lot of people that were missing from that scene for him to say that was his whole universe. But then I suppose Shatterstar being there also lends itself to your theory of it being a different different Deadpool. Because this Deadpool was friends with Shatterstar. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I think that stuff we're going to touch on later. I don't think there'll be another personally, another standalone Deadpool movie. I think this is it. I think 3 movies. I think Ryan Reynolds smart enough to call it quits. I don't think they could top this, but I don't think this is the end of any of the characters. I think this is going to be there's going to be something that brings them all into something. Secret Wars particularly, but I don't. I think there's going to be something that touches on all of this later on. We're all going to go, oh, that's why. You know what I mean? There's going to be like a thing that we all call back on.
Yep, I agree.
How cool would it be to see Ryan Reynolds turn up twice in Secret Wars? One as the version we know from Deadpool 1 and 2, and then this new version of Deadpool from the 616 universe that we've had introduced in Deadpool 3. And there's a moment where one of them has to kill the other. Like, that would be awesome. Like, the fans would be divided. Like, who do we vote? Who do we call for? Who do we vote for on that? Who do we, root for? Original Deadpool that we've known and loved, or the new one that's going to be the MCU Deadpool. That would be cool to do.
Yeah. Chris Evans.
Yeah. That was very well done.
Yeah, very well done.
I assumed it was Cap for the first 10 seconds. I genuinely assumed that was Cap.
Oh, really?
I didn't see that coming. I genuinely, and as much as I'm a big fan of the 20th Century Fox. I grew up watching them, but there's the way they introduced him and the way Deadpool was like, "I've got this Cap," and all that, like that he was treating him like Captain America. I assumed that's Cap. That's a variant of Cap, and I got so fucking hyped. And then they just whipped it from under us.
That was one of my favorites. I wish we had got like they could have very easily CGI'd in the thing as well, or like kind of given us some more. They could have essentially given us the whole Fantastic Four using CGI, and I kind of wish we had seen more.
I think it was good overall. I liked his part. He was living.
It was a good cameo, and I like the after credit scene as well, where he did say the thing that Deadpool said he was going to say.
Yeah, because I get you, they could have given us more, but the thing was, if you say that and they gave us all the Fantastic Four, then why didn't they give us all the X-Men? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a line. And okay, they gave us the Human Torch. He was the element that we all remember from that movie, and the fact that he's now gone on to play Cap. He's the character we remember and know and love. And the joke was cheap, but it was good. It worked.
You know what? The only way I think they could have topped it is if they'd got Michael B. Jordan as well. Because obviously he plays Killmonger, doesn't he? And you have him come out and you have Chris Evans come out and you think it's Killmonger versus Cap. And it's actually both Johnny. Yeah. But no, I liked it. It was very funny. It was in keeping with the theme of the movie.
Again, as well, Chris Evans is friends with Ryan Reynolds, he's friends with Hugh Jackman. They're all friends in real life. He's got a lot of pull in Hollywood, and Chris Evans is one of the many people he's friends with in Hollywood. Yeah.
And obviously we saw Chris Evans in Free Guy, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So
we did.
Yeah, no, very cool. And then obviously we see loads of Cassandra Nova's kind of minions, which are all.
I love Cassandra Nova, by the way. She was amazing.
She was phenomenal. Yeah, I really liked her, but hated her. That makes sense.
I don't think that's the last we've seen of her either. I don't think.
No, I don't. But the way she killed Johnny was brutal. Brutal. And then we see all of her minions. So we see, the likes of Toad and Psylocke and Lady Deathstrike and Juggernaut and all those kind of Toad, all played by different actors though, which I didn't pick up on until afterwards.
Ray Park was there, wasn't he? Ray Park was definitely there.
Nope. Toad was played by someone else.
Oh wow! I thought Ray Park was actually there.
Yeah. Toad was played they were all played by other people. The most obvious one was Juggernaut.
Yeah.
But he was played by. Do you remember in Free Guy, the big dude character at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy that was the body for dude, he's like a proper professional bodybuilder. He played Juggernaut in in Deadpool Wolverine. So again, friends with Ryan Reynolds, crossed paths before, so getting him in to play Juggernaut was obviously quite easy. And I think
Psylocke as well. I didn't really pick up on the fact that wasn't her because of how they filmed it and how they did it, you couldn't really tell if that was her or not. So I mean, that was cleverly well done.
Yeah, I think that the way that they did all of these cameos is that they were far enough away and quick that you recognized the character, not the actor.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made it work. I don't know about Sabretooth. I don't know if that was somebody different or whether that was the original actor. I really don't know.
I don't know. But because, to be fair, like you say, when they announced Juggernaut, in my brain, because I was too busy involved in the Marvel element of it, my brain went, oh shit, Juggernaut. But I didn't go, oh, it's not Vinnie Jones. My brain just went, Juggernaut.
Yeah.
So
And I find it interesting that they showed that version of Juggernaut and not the version that we got in the Deadpool 2.
Well, the version of Deadpool 2 would have killed them all. Let's put it that way. He was a bad guy.
But he was the much more comic book accurate Juggernaut, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then obviously we had the whole bit with the secret resistance that obviously Johnny was a part of. And that's where we got our big cameo payoffs. Elektra, we all knew about. She'd been credited from the beginning. And I think the sad thing is because she was credited, it took away a little bit of a pop.
Yeah, it wasn't a pop.
Whereas I think if she wasn't credited, she looked fantastic. Like, absolutely looked fantastic. She nailed it. Like the same with Wesley Snipes. They both looked like they hadn't skipped a beat. But I think if she wasn't credited and she walked out and it was Elektra, I thought that would have been cool. I loved the way that they really dissed her divorce to Ben Affleck, in character, because obviously her and Ben Affleck were famously married, weren't they? And he played Daredevil and she played Elektra. And the way she just shrugged off that Daredevil had been killed off, it was just like, yeah, never mind. And then of course we got the big one, which was Channing Tatum's Gambit.
That's amazing.
Which was incredible. It was
my dad had no. I'm there in the middle of a film trying to explain that joke, and I'm like, Dad, it's like, this was the guy that was meant to play Gambit that never got to play Gambit because the film never existed. Like, so why is he there? Like, because it's a joke. I had to explain that in the middle of a movie.
I think what's really nice as well is if you see any of Channing Tatum's posts, now that the film's out, he's really credited Ryan Reynolds and really thanked him for allowing him to be that character, because obviously it was 10 years ago, no, more than 10 years ago. That he was brought out at San Diego Comic-Con, announced as Gambit, like everyone got hyped, and then the movie just never happened.
But to be fair, would you want him to be Gambit? He's crap.
1,000,000%. No, I loved it. I thought he was brilliant.
It suited what it needed to do. It was a joke. He could not play that role seriously. The whole point of that was that he sounded crap. He didn't have the right accent. It was rubbish. But that was the joke. That was the whole point of the shtick.
I think for me, it was a case of if you took him 10 years ago and they made it kind of a comical kind of character anyway, I think the film could have potentially had legs.
Yes. But I will say, what this film did for me is show, and I think they definitely did this on purpose, they showed comic book accurate suits can work on the big screen if you do them correctly. His suit looked fucking phenomenal. And so did Wolverine with the mask and everything. Because everyone always said, how do you make that mask and that work? They did it like the Deadpool and Spider-Man mask with the white eyes, and it worked. It looked good.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
And Gambit looked good on screen as the comic book accurate Gambit.
Yeah. And he was to the T, comic book accurate, wasn't he? Everything was spot on. He really looked good.
But I loved the jokes of, who's your dialect coach? Like, every time he spoke, and Deadpool was like, can we get subtitles for this guy?
Yeah. My favorite bit though was when they were talking, whenever they would make a reference to their universe or to their followers or whatever it is, and he would always quip him with or maybe they didn't have a universe. Yeah. But it was just brilliant. But yeah, those and then X-23 coming out, I think they missed the trick by not putting her in some sort of costume.
I think they're saving it. I think they're saving that.
Yeah, potentially.
So my theory is, and I mentioned this when I spoke with Pete and the guys over on his channel earlier this week. One thing that I think is happening now, all the characters, right, the big dragon monster in the sky, I can never remember its name, Abalon, whatever it's called. The big dragon thing.
It'll come to me.
Okay. What if we're all assuming that when those characters get eaten by him, they die because he's feasting on them or whatever?
Yeah.
What if that is the being that is taking them to the Secret Wars? What if that is the thing that comes along to the universes and goes nom 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 nom, and it eats up a load of characters, and they suddenly appear in the Secret Wars? So that means we're going to get Richard E. Grant as Loki. We're going to get Blade, Wesley Snipes. We're going to get Jennifer Garner as Blade, as Elektra. Wolverine, Deadpool. You know what I mean? We're going to get all these characters that we've known and loved for years, all cameo-wise. We could get, then they could throw in, that Spider-Man got eaten up by this thing. And they could then throw in the Robert Downey Jr. and the Chris Evans. You know what I mean? I think this is just a catalyst to be able to go, these are the characters that are coming in Secret Wars.
Yeah. Okay.
And because it just, for me, why is, like, Jennifer Garner, if she was just doing a 2-bit role for 10 minutes,
yeah,
she looked good in that costume. She worked out. She was in shape. She looked good. Yeah. Why would you do all that effort for a 10-second cameo? Come on. They've got a plan. They're like, Jennifer, we need to get in shape. We're going to make 3 movies out of this. You know what I mean? She's going to appear again. There's no way she's gone forever.
No. I just think they look so good together. Like seeing Elektra, Blade, Gambit.
They were the Marvel Knights. They're the Marvel Knights.
Yeah.
They are the Marvel Knights together. Deadpool and Wolverine with those characters were known as the Marvel Knights. And they even mentioned the Punisher, who is the last member. They were the Marvel Knights together in the comics.
What was it they said about the Punisher?
He was eaten up by the big monster thing in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Which, again, they could easily cast one of the Punishers to come back.
I'm gutted Ghost Rider wasn't there. That was the only thing. When they said there's one more member, I was really hoping it was going to be Nicolas Cage. And then X-23 would be involved somehow else. Like they could have written her in slightly differently and given us like a Nick Cage or that would have been icing on the cake for me. But I loved it. I loved that scene. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. And then obviously kind of to round it off, they become best friends and Deadpool stays with him, doesn't he?
He does.
What did you think of all the Deadpool Corps characters?
That was awesome. That was so good.
Did you hear about all the different cameos in that though?
No, not necessarily.
So the
I know we had. Are you on about the people that voiced them?
Yeah.
But no, I didn't.
So the Welsh Deadpool was I forget his name, Paul, but he's the striker for Wrexham.
Okay.
Lady Deadpool was obviously Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife. Kid Deadpool was their eldest child. Baby Deadpool was their baby. And Cowboy Deadpool was Matthew McConaughey.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there might have been a couple of others as well, but they were the big ones. And Peter Paul as well.
Peter Paul.
It just made no sense. Like Peter just rolling up in a Deadpool costume. Oh, he had it in the locker, didn't he? I suppose that's where it came from. He had it sitting in the locker just in case. But yeah, him just rolling up and then them all loving the fact that they all had a Peter. Like every universe had a Peter and therefore they listened to him. And
that felt like a joke of the whole Martha joke. Because obviously he made that joke in Deadpool 2. And to me, it felt like that joke felt full circle at that point.
Yeah.
The Martha moment.
Wet Boy 40, Paul Mullin is the Wrexham striker.
Cool.
But yeah,
I didn't like their usage. I was upset that they were against him. The Deadpool Corps are meant to be Deadpool's friends, not his enemies. That felt weird that they were able to go against. Like, why would a bunch of Deadpools fight another Deadpool? It made zero sense technically to the story of Deadpool. But I get why they did it. It was a cool cameo, but storyline wise, as someone who's read the comics, that doesn't make any sense because the Deadpool Corps are his friends, not his enemies.
Yeah. And Nice Paul as well. What did you make of Nice Paul?
That was just a Ryan Reynolds joke, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that felt like a Ryan Reynolds joke.
The only thing that really disappointed me when it came to all of those Deadpool variants is that they didn't include the Deadpool from Wolverine Origins.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
If he was there as well, that would have just, and they could have finished him off really easy. Like they could have, you know.
Technically, though, he wouldn't be around because Deadpool went back in time and killed him. So technically,
oh yeah, he did.
He wouldn't be around if you wanted to nitpick.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, technically he would be dead, but that would also mean that all the
they could have really made a joke out of it because obviously he was from the Hugh Jackman movie, and he was played by Ryan Reynolds, and that was the movie in which they met as well. So, you know, to have him there, even if he was like the big boss one at the end, like
well,
that
to be
would
fair, technically, even the Deadpool even the Wolverine that met that Deadpool isn't in this movie. Technically.
Oh yeah.
It's a different Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is a Wolverine we've never met before, technically.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah,
because that was the other thing. That was the other thing about this movie that I think people are forgetting. All the other X-Men characters in his timeline are dead.
Yeah.
They deliberately used that Wolverine to bring into the MCU because his entire X-Men team are dead. Therefore, they can recast them all except Wolverine. And I think that's pretty much Feige's thing. They can now happily kickstart a X-Men movie, keeping Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but recast everyone else. Do a whole new timeline, but keep Hugh Jackman around as the catalyst character.
And that I mean,
because he's too good. And they made the joke of they're going to bring it. Disney are going to make you do this till you're 90. They did make the joke several times. I
was going to say quite a few times they made that one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wetboy 40 has said as well, Deadpools were hired by Cassandra Nova to keep Deadpool and Wolverine distracted. So yeah, that's I get why they were there, but
I
like
just don't understand why they did it. I don't know why they listened to Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, it was a little bit jarring in relation to who they were in the comics. Yeah. I'm annoyed we didn't see like Squirrel Paul and all that kind of stuff, but Dog Paul was cool. Like, you know, but that was
he was at Hull Cineworld this weekend.
Yeah, he's a British dog, isn't he?
Yep, he was at Hull Cineworld on Saturday. He was at Sheffield Cineworld on Sunday today. So I mean, he's doing a tour right now.
That dog is gonna be famous now for many years. we will see that dog at Comic Cons all over the country for the next 5 or 6 years. But yeah, that is good. It's a good film. So let's talk Fantastic Four trailer leak. Fantastic Four trailer, because there's not a huge amount to talk about.
But the fact that it's the first movie in the franchise for Fantastic Four, and we're already getting a Silver Surfer and Galactus. They're both confirmed.
Yes, well, they were in the trailer. So the trailer that was shown was not the final trailer. It wasn't the.
Well, they didn't even start filming.
No, it was all done using test footage and stuff like that, and stock footage, not stock footage, but the test footage, and but they saw something, and from the pictures that have been leaked on the internet, it looks very cool. It looks very sort of 60s, 50s, 60s, like we said. It's very period, isn't it? But yeah,
it was Agatha all along. That's all I'm saying.
You really think she's going to appear in this?
The 1960s aesthetic, they're keeping that element of this. It looks like it could be something from the 60s. They're very deliberately keeping this separate from everything else. It's even set in a different universe. Did you notice that?
No.
It's not 66.
Is it not?
Nope. This is a completely different universe. It's a different universe to every other thing we've had so far. This is a completely separate timeline and universe.
Interesting.
And they've done this 1960s aesthetic where they've kind of made it look like all these characters appeared in like a 60s sitcom. Oh, where does that come from? Where have we seen this before? To me, that, I don't know, it could just be the way they're doing it, because they're obviously very famously a 60s character. So is the X-Men. To be fair, we know that the Avengers timeline and what they've done with Marvel over the last couple of years hasn't been very successful. If they were to call it quits now, with the Deadpool movie being a new point, and just kind of go, right, we'll stop there with the Avengers for now. And what if they just moved into this new timeline and gave us a bunch of new movies? That would be acceptable, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fantastic Four would look cool in that aesthetic, and so would X-Men, because the X-Men costumes would look good in that sort of highly high-res aesthetic.
Yeah.
It would look good, and they're both very 1960s characters. I just don't know. I think there's something there that we're not seeing just yet. I think there's more to this. There's no way that they've done that. They've done that not deliberately.
The only thing that concerns me about it is the inclusion of Galactus being such a huge dominating villain, and also by switching Silver Surfer to a woman. And I know that there are female Silver Surfers in the comic books, but you think of Galactus and Silver Surfer, you think of Norad. What's his name?
Yeah. Anyway, Silver Surfer is
Norad.
The brilliant part about the Silver Surfer thing is that he is a celestial. He's just a being. He's not really male or female. It's just a being. It's just a thing. So they could technically get away with changing.
No, but it starts as he has a backstory. He is a person on a planet, isn't he? So I get where you're coming from.
I think they're moving away from that. I think they're going to make him a celestial.
Okay.
Just because I think the way they're going to portray it, they can't do a human version of it and change it to the way they're doing it to make it a bloke, and you know what I mean. They couldn't do that.
No.
With what they're doing with it being a celestial would not be a male or female being. It would be a entity. Does that make sense?
See, I think that
it could take any form it chooses.
See, I think the best way for this to have worked was to basically make it a T-1000. Do you know, from Terminator? And basically let us see a like the male Silver Surfer that we recognise from the comics. And then when he visits Earth, he sees something, whether it's a billboard or whatever, and changes shape. That to me would have I could have accepted that quite easily. I won't right now. I'm kind of like, well, how are they going to start it off before Galactus has met the Fantastic Four?
Personally, I think they're going to change up the entire Silver Surfer thing. I think Galactus is going to create the Silver Surfer in this one.
Yeah, they could do that.
He needs a herald, therefore he takes something in the universe and creates this thing and releases it.
I'm just a bit conscious. I'm a bit apprehensive and a bit conscious because taking Galactus, taking Silver Surfer, and throwing them straight into that first movie, it's a big risk, you know.
Technically, we saw Thanos early on, but we didn't fight Thanos for a long time. It could be that. It could be the fact that they're just going to start teasing us and giving us Galactus, and then building him up as this big all-world eating monster.
But he doesn't tie into Secret Wars or Doomsday.
But it doesn't matter. Thanos didn't tie into anything until Endgame. It took 10 years for Thanos to turn up. But he was in cameos and he was in things. He was there. He was just slowly built up. They could do the same again.
Just replicate that.
We've only ever seen test footage. This is only test footage. We've only ever seen them go, this is how Galactus could look in the MCU. That doesn't necessarily mean this is final footage.
It did work, didn't it? It worked for Thanos.
Exactly.
You know,
they could in this film technically do the Fantastic Four Origins movie, and then at the end of it, give us Silver Surfer and Galactus as the end credit scene.
Yeah,
that could be how it runs, and then a second and third movie introduces Silver Surfer to the timeline, then Galactus to the timeline. But slowly build it up so that we're slowly seeing bits of Galactus over time. Because Galactus was not only fought by the Fantastic Four, but the Avengers. He was also fought by the Fantastic Four. By the X-Men. So multiple teams fought this being. So they could build him up as the next Thanos quite easily.
Yeah.
If they played the card right.
And they haven't tied an actor to him yet, though, have they?
Nope.
That's interesting.
The best thing as well, Thanos. I mean, they tied an actor to that at the very beginning, but it wasn't the actor we ended up getting.
No.
And the guy, the actor obviously it was Cable, wasn't it? I mean, when we ended up getting him in the very end, he was awesome.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the guy that originally was set to play him.
No, it wasn't.
It took 10 years to settle it out.
Yeah. See, I think if they drag it out, don't give him to us in this movie. Drag him out, and let's take it from there. But from what I can see from the trailer leaks, the aesthetic of the film, everyone looks good. Everyone looks like they should do. Yeah. So I'm okay with that.
I'm intrigued.
Robert Downey Jr. then as Doom. What could we not talk about last week because of spoilers?
Okay, so I don't think he's playing Doom.
Okay.
I think he's playing Victor Von Doom and a variant. I don't think he's playing Doctor Doom. I think he will never become Doctor Doom. I think he's going to be almost a this is what could be moment if something doesn't change in the timeline.
There was a lot of...
Go on. And they'll use Robert Downey Jr. in flashback scenes where we see Reed Richards and Doctor Doom in college with Robert Downey Jr. because they already did a de-aging scene in one of the Avengers movies. I can't remember which one it was, where they showed him as a young man, didn't they? And it looked good.
Yeah.
Imagine what they could do now. It's been a long time since that scene.
Yeah. But you've only got to look at Kurt Russell in Guardians too, like how good he looked. There's lots of stuff out there about this, about the kind of announcement, and I don't know whether it was the Russo brothers about Robert Downey Jr. or Robert Downey Jr. about the Russo brothers, but basically one said that they would only do it if the other one was doing it, kind of thing. So Marvel had to make sure they secured that second one.
Okay, in a world that has been built up on cameos and actors, which is what this is, they cannot have Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, famously, portray another character without it making sense of the timeline. Because of the variance thing, it wouldn't make any human sense, right?
Yeah.
Unless they layer him under masses of some form of synthetic makeup to make him look totally different, which I don't see them doing because it's Robert Downey Jr. They want him to be Robert Downey Jr. There's been too many storylines of Iron Man becoming Doctor Doom in the comic books. There's that storyline already exists.
Yeah.
I sent you a bunch of photos early in the week, which I think is the storyline they're going for, which is the storyline in an alternate universe where Iron Man became Doctor Doom by completing, like you said, his whole idea of wanting an iron suit around the world. He successfully did that and became Doctor Doom because of that, because he became a dictator.
Yeah.
Because he became a bad guy, because of what he became. Our Iron Man in our universe died. So we can't just revive the Robert Downey Jr. from our universe because that's too cheap. But we can bring a Robert Downey Jr. in from an alternate timeline. What if they bring a bad Iron Man into the timeline from another universe that then sees the error of his ways and becomes the Iron Man we need him to be?
But see, the other angle is that he's nothing to do with Iron Man at all.
Yeah, that is the other side. That is the side of the coin.
Yeah, that it is literally just Robert Downey Jr. And we're all assuming Tony Stark and all the rest of it, because when he did the announcement, he walked out, he put his glasses on, he acted very Tony Stark-esque. But Doctor Doom is obviously disfigured after the accident, so hence, he does have the mask and stuff. The amount of money that they must be paying him, like I read an article somewhere that it's in the region of like 80 million or something. And he needs a private jet and all these really high demands. So it wouldn't make sense to then put him behind a mask or have really heavy makeup, because otherwise what you're paying for, like even Iron Man, if you think about it, when he was suited up, there was loads of scenes to him in the suit. You won't get them with Doctor Doom. The line he threw out where he said new mask, same task, really threw me, because I was like, what are you talking about? Saving the MCU, like carrying it? What's the, or is it just simply a case of here I am in a Marvel film again?
Can I throw something out to you?
Go on.
If they wanted to give us something that made us pop, would they have announced him as the character? No, they wouldn't. If they wanted the reaction where he is Doctor Doom, they would have waited until people were in the cinema, and they would have used a synth on his voice to make him sound different, and we would have had the Fantastic Four movie, and then we would have had this Doctor Doom movie, and we would have had the moment of, do you know who I am? And the reveal of the mask coming off, and Robert Downey Jr. underneath, and the film would end, leaving us all going, oh crap, it's Robert Downey Jr. That was the moment they could have given us. They chose not to. That is the multi-million scene right there that would have broken the internet and the MCU in half, right? That could have been the moment we could have got, but we didn't, because the Russo brothers announced it at Comic-Con. So, to me, he is not Doctor Doom, because now we're expecting it. They're going to do the movie, they're going to do the reveal of I am Doctor Doom, and we're expecting Junior underneath that mask, and then we're going to get the real Doctor Doom actor for 616 under that mask. And Robert Downey Jr. is going to be something else, a variant or something. It's too easy right now. Why would they announce it? If they wanted a pop, if they wanted something that made us go, oh shit, they wouldn't have revealed it. They could have revealed that in the cinemas and made us all freak out.
Yeah,
they chose
no, very right.
They chose not to. This tells me there's more of a storyline there.
Keep going. I'll be 2 secs. Ooh. Keep going.
Yeah, I think it's far too easy. They could have literally given us something more than they've not. They've literally given us this early. So for me, like I say, I think it's too easy right now. There's something else at hand, a storyline or something that is going to reveal why he's that Doctor Doom or why he's that version. There's got to be more to it than what we're currently expecting. Otherwise, why do it? That's my opinion. Okay, I've run out of things to say now. Hey, Jacob's gone.
I'm back.
Yeah. You did it in the nick of time.
Did I just get back in time? Oh, hang on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, I was just basically saying, like I said, if they wanted to give us that moment and that pop, they could have given us it in a cinema with zero reveal. They chose not to do that. They've given us it early, which to me means there's more to this. Yeah.
Of course, in the comic books, there is a version of Doom that Tony Stark becomes Doom, isn't there?
In the comic books, when they originally revealed Doctor Doom, do you remember who was under the mask? The first time they ever revealed it. It was the first ever time they revealed it.
Wasn't it Reed Richards?
Nope. It was Stanley himself.
Was it?
It was Stanley's face. The first time they ever revealed Doctor Doom without a mask, and he whipped it off in front of the Fantastic Four. They made a joke, and it was Stanley.
Well, really? I didn't know that. There you go. I've learned something new on the Geek Week, episode 163.
It's a stupid little Easter egg, but yeah, they made him look like Stanley underneath the mask, basically. It was a joke by the Marvel staff.
That's interesting.
Likewise, one thing that is famous about Doctor Doom, he loves his Doom bots, right? What if he makes a bunch of... What if the Doctor Doom of this universe destroyed Tony Stark, right? And took over the iron suits around the world and turned them into Doombots. So we'll get the superior Iron Man look of the green and white suits of Iron Man. That would be amazing. Because to introduce Doom and then, he's got Doombots would be very much Tony Stark, wouldn't it? For the MCU, it would be too easy. So to me, his version in his universe, Doctor Doom destroys Iron Man, kills him, takes over the bots around the world theory, and turns them into Doombots. And what if, instead of him being... Right, here's the thing that I'm loving. What if, instead of him being the king of Latvia or wherever, what if they make him the king of the place that gets destroyed in Ultron?
Well, Sokovia.
What if he is the king of Sokovia rather than Latvia? So this version of Doctor Doom and Iron Man technically saves Sokovia from Ultron and saves Sokovia, but he becomes their leader with the Doombots around the world thing. What if he becomes Doctor Doom because of that? Because he becomes technically a dictator of that world. Because it's in the same sort of area. It's Eastern European.
My only issue with the whole Tony Stark and like, because they've not said anything about Tony Stark. We've all just made that assumption.
We have.
Because it's Robert Downey Jr. Now, Robert Downey Jr. obviously is a very talented actor. But the Tony Stark Doctor Doom obviously had gold and red as opposed to silver and green. Oh, I don't know.
At no point in their explanation did they ever say, because they would have done, they never said Robert Downey Jr. is playing the 616 Doctor Doom. They never once said those words. They never said he's playing Doctor Doom. They never said those words. They deliberately said Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in this movie, and he is going to be. So they said he's going to help bring to life Victor Von Doom. They never said he's playing Doctor Doom. They said he's going to help bring to life Victor Von Doom.
Okay.
I still personally think this is all a red herring, and he's going to be Tony Stark in a flashback.
Okay.
There's going to be something that ties him into this whole thing. There's got to be.
The only thing I picked up from it was that we are going to get Iron Man back for Secret Wars.
Yeah, basically.
Because he would have got like a 3-movie deal or a 2-movie deal or something like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean playing the same character. So he could get a 3-movie deal, play Doom in Fantastic Four and Doomsday, and then have him come back as Tony Stark in thing. But there is also stuff floating around the internet now because they're talking about if Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom, they're going to try to get another actor to play Tony Stark. And then there's all the stuff about Tom Cruise kicking around now.
Keep talking about 2 seconds.
Oh, now you've left me. That's fine. Webboy Fought here has said here as well, in the comics, Doctor Doom became Iron Man in the infamous Iron Man comics from 2016 to 2017. Around for 12 issues. Yes. And that figure as well, it was a Marvel Legends figure that was literally peg warming. Like nobody wanted it because it was essentially an Iron Man suit painted silver with a cape. And now that one sells for stupid money. Absolutely stupid money because obviously lots of people are assuming that we're going to go down that infamous Iron Man route. It's possible. It is possible. It's one option. There is a lot of assumption and there is a lot of theories and stuff floating around the internet. I think the only thing that is being kind of glossed over is that they've not mentioned anything about Stark. We've all kind of tied 2 and 2 together. And I think Robert Downey Jr. is a good enough actor with a kind of a wide enough range that he could play another character in the MCU without us always thinking of Tony Stark. I think.
Sorry, who did you say there before I disappeared? You say Tom Hanks?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Hanks. Yeah, there was a lot of talk of Tom Cruise, wasn't there? Because in Doctor Strange, they were saying that he was going to play the Iron Man. What is it? The superior Iron Man.
He's too short.
Oh, I know. The thing that does crack me up though,
of all the actors that you could cast as Doctor Doom, I'm sorry, but the obvious choice is Mads Mikkelsen. Come on.
Who?
Mikkelsen.
Who's that?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Who's that?
The guy that was in he was in Rogue One.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's got the accent. He's got the look. He is Doctor Doom. He's a silver fox. Look at him.
Yeah. No,
as if he wouldn't be Doctor Doom. Come on.
What does crack me up though is that in a weekend between Deadpool and Wolverine, kind of, totally ruining the end of Logan and Robert Downey Jr. coming out as Doom, it kind of made the end of Endgame and the end of Logan almost kind of worthless in a weekend, because obviously they were two really big kind of final moments, weren't they?
Nope. I don't think it did.
No?
Because I don't think that I don't think this is the end of everything. We've got the Russo brothers back at the helm, right?
Yes.
They started a storyline that they started with Captain America and they ended it with Endgame, right? They saw something through to a completion that they wanted to do. Come on, this is the continuation of their storyline now. Forget what you've had now with Doctor Doom and all that crap with the multiverse. Forget that now. Right? This is the brothers back at the helm making their final chapter.
And the same writing team as well. The head writer that worked on Endgame and Infinity War is back as well. So
to me, this is a continuation of the Tony Stark storyline, and this is the next chapter. I don't think there's no way they're going to give us something cheap where he's Doctor Doom now. No. He's going to be Tony Stark, and he's going to come back ready for Secret Wars. Yeah. There's going to be something. They're going to do something. He's going to play a bad guy in the beginning. He's going to become a good guy by the end of it, become Iron Man for the time.
Yeah.
It's got to be. There's no way they're going to let him portray the villain. Likewise, I also don't think that he's going to portray Doctor Doom for the Fantastic Four. I think we need to wait till the Fantastic Four movie drops to make that decision.
Yeah. Yes, in the first Doctor Strange film as the main villain. Yes. He could have definitely played Doctor Doom. I think we will see Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four as the post-credit scene. I think we might have a scene between Robert Downey Jr. and Reed Richards.
Doctor Doom gets his powers with the Fantastic Four when they have their accident. He's with them.
Yeah.
Let's not
forget. That's what I mean, is that unless there's
no way to do an origin story of the Fantastic Four without him. Let's put it that way. He can't just be an end credit scene. He needs to be there with them. So if they can't, like, this is what I'm getting at. There's no way they're gonna just go, oh look, it's Robert Downey Jr. playing playing thingy. It's not gonna work.
No, but the only way they could do it as a post-credit scene is if they start the Fantastic Four film off with them already having their powers, and then we get a flashback scene towards the end of the film or after the credits where we see that there was another.
We forgot about the fifth guy that gets attacked. Come on.
No.
Four of us got powers in space, and now we're superheroes. Oh, by the way, there was a fifth guy with us. It was Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, but that's if they even do that. They might not go down that route. They might try to give us a different origin story to the Fantastic Four.
Because how cool would it be? We've had this moment. We're expecting Robert Downey Jr. That scene in the movie, they reveal who Doctor Doom is, and it's not Robert Downey Jr. Again, that's a moment we'd go, oh shit. We would all get excited again. Who's Robert playing? Who's he going to be? Who's he going to be? Again, it's something that would keep us watching. They want to hook you in for multiple movies, not one.
Yeah.
They're doing things that would keep us watching. That's the whole point.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, it's been a mad weekend. And you know what? I'm excited about the MCU again.
I am, and that's the whole point of it. Of the whole thing that's happened between Deadpool and the Robert Downey Jr. announcement, and between Blade and everything in between, it actually made me excited for the MCU again.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that Brave New World, Captain America Brave New World, is a good film, because obviously that was being shot in the middle of the kind of the dry period where Marvel wasn't really hitting the mark. And it's being released post Deadpool, post all these announcements. So it kind of falls into the camp, because obviously next year we've got Brave New World. No, Brave New World's this year, isn't it? It's November.
I don't know anymore. I'm not excited for that movie, full stop.
Yeah, see, I really am.
That and Thunderbolts, I couldn't give two tosses about.
Yeah, see, I'm excited for them both, but I don't know. But I'm just excited for the MCU again, which is kind of what we needed. We needed that kind of that spark again, which is great. So I think between Deadpool and Wolverine absolutely knocking it out of the park, Fantastic Four setting up potentially what could be a really good origin story of yet another branch of the Marvel universe. Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Doom, and then obviously Blade finally getting its kind of green light day.
So one thing that again we're all forgetting about, we're not touching on. Nobody's talking about it. Post Captain America, sorry, post Captain Marvel 2. Let's come back to that. Let's go back a little bit. We saw her wake up in a different universe. She's no longer in the 616 universe. She's now in a different universe where there's Beast. The X-Men already exist.
And Sentry as well.
Yes.
Well, see, I did a post on this though, because the people are saying that universe is the 10005 universe.
No, can't be.
Why?
Because the X-Men already exist, and there's Deadpool, and there's already versions of Beast in that universe because it's played by the younger version of Beast.
No,
therefore,
that's a
Hank
cameo.
McCoy's Beast. It doesn't matter. That version of Beast is shown on screen with our Deadpool, meaning that he's the Beast of that universe. It might.
No, because the 10005 universe is the original X-Men universe, because it's a street in New York, and that's the original Hugh Jackman X-Men 1 universe, which we have the Kelsey Grammer Beast, don't we?
It could right. Here's what. Just lay me out. Here's what I'm thinking. That Kelsey Grammer Beast that we saw at the end of that movie, with the fact that an MCU character now crossed over to it, I think this is the same universe because it matches the aesthetic of what the Avengers is going to be. Is what the Fantastic Four is going to be in.
Yeah.
That way, we don't need to have a X-Men movie where we do the whole we're going to gather a team again. We can skip to the X-Men have been here since the 1960s in this universe, and they've been fighting whatever. You know, they can just jump in at the deep end without having to give us an origin story because we already know the story. They proved that works with Spider-Man. We don't need to do an origin story for the X-Men. We already know who they are.
Yeah.
What if that universe with Kelsey Grammer and the fact that they've already said, I'll take you to Charles, we don't know which Charles, we just know a Charles. But what if that is the kickstart of the mutants being in the MCU? What if that is it?
Yeah, I think it probably will.
Fantastic Four could be in that universe. She's now crossed over to it, giving us a link back to the original universe. So that when Secret Wars comes along, or whatever we do, however we cross them all over, she's from the original universe. So she's the character that ties the whole thing together.
Okay, yeah, I like
X-Men,
like
Fantastic Four on this side, Avengers on this side, the two meet via her.
They do Secret Wars, and then that also opens up for Avengers versus X-Men.
But they could also then, if the Avengers timeline is still crap and it's not working, Feige and the team could go, right, timeline there ended. Let's continue with 1060, whatever, 1066, whatever, and continue with this timeline over here that is working.
Yeah.
It would be a way of closing the door on the MCU on this franchise, starting afresh here without all the rigmarole that came before. Therefore, we could have a Spider-Man in that universe that's a completely different actor, and it would explain it all away.
Yep, I like that theory. I like it a lot. Let's leave it on that note. That I like that a lot. Whoa, that was a lot. We talked about a lot this week. Let us know though. Let us know in the chat what you think. If you're watching us on Catch Up, then obviously do let us know by putting in the hashtag
Catch Up Crew,
and let us know your thoughts and theories. One thing for sure though, the MCU is exciting again, and that's the main thing. They are setting up a very exciting few years. No two ways about it. Thank you very much everyone for watching. Of course, do check out the description of the videos. All the links to both mine and SuperSorrell's social medias there. So do go and check them out and give us a like, a follow, a share, whatever it is that you do. We do appreciate everyone tuning in. We will be back next week with episode 164, which we will announce during the week what we're going to be talking about. But yeah, right, that's we've unloaded that now. We've kind of put it all out there. Do let us know your thoughts, your feelings, all the rest of it. Whew.
We didn't even touch on the ending to Deadpool. We didn't even touch on that.
The ending.
Another 10 minutes. Yeah, because by the ending of the movie, we saw that Laura Danes, obviously X-23, was sat with Deadpool. but the rest of the characters for the film weren't there. She was there, but the rest of them weren't. They made the whole thing they made the whole thing of saying we're going to need these guys around in the timeline. They deliberately said that.
So, very quickly before we finish, I'll tell you what my theory is on that. The only one that's directly linked to any of the characters in that room was X-23. The others were only linked by that battle.
Yeah.
They weren't friends. They weren't part of a team. They were working together on that battle. Whereas X-23 has a link to Logan, has a link to that. So she is there because they're linked anyway. The others weren't. There was no reason for Blade to be sat around the table.
Who in the comic books is she? Who is she from? She's Wolverine's daughter, but who else's blood is in X-23?
Oh, who?
Deadpool. It's both of their DNA in her, not just Wolverine. Oh yeah, go back and read the books. She's made up of
a long time.
She is made up of the DNA of Deadpool and Wolverine. She has Wolverine's healing factor, but she has the reflexes and assassination of Deadpool. That is why they use both of their DNAs in her to make her the ultimate killing machine. So she is technically, her mama is Deadpool and her father is Wolverine. That is the joke that is yet to come.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. Until then, keep it geek.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and of course subscribe. Tune in next week for another live show. Until then, keep it geek. www.geekweekinreview.co.uk